If you've ever believed that kindness can't change the world, this story will make you think again. Stick till the end, because what happens in the final few minutes will make your heart race and your eyes tear up. And if this story moves you, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who still believes in standing up for what's right. It was a quiet Friday evening in a small town where everyone knew everyone. The sun had just set behind the diner, and its neon lights flickered softly against the darkening sky. Inside, laughter mixed with the clinking of plates and the hum of an old jukebox playing country tunes. At a corner booth sat a teenage girl named Emily, her wheelchair parked close to the table. She was born with a spinal condition that left her legs paralyzed, but her smile, it could light up an entire room. Emily had been through enough surgeries to break anyone's spirit, yet she never let it show. She came to the diner often with her mother, mostly to feel normal, to be just another girl sipping milkshakes and sketching in her notebook. That night, her mom was late from work, so Emily came alone. She sat quietly, doodling in her sketchbook drawings of motorbikes, wings, and brave heroes, but peace never lasts long when cruelty lurks close by. 3 teenage boys from her school swaggered into the diner, loud and cocky. Jake, the leader, his friend Ryan, and their shadow Cole. They'd bullied Emily before, calling her names in the hallway, making jokes about her wheelchair. But tonight, something darker was in their eyes, the kind of mean that comes from trying to impress each other. Jake noticed Emily sitting alone and smirked. "Well, look who rolled in," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. The diner went a little quiet, but no one interfered. People just looked away, as they often do. Emily kept her eyes on her sketchbook, pretending not to hear. But Ryan walked up and snatched it from her hands. "What's this? You drawing bikes now? You can't even ride one," he mocked, waving the book around. "Please, give it back," Emily said softly, trying to keep her voice steady. Jake leaned in close and whispered cruelly, "Why don't you stand up and take it from me?" The laughter that followed was like glass breaking inside her heart. Emily tried to roll back, but Jake pushed her wheelchair roughly. The diner owner yelled for them to stop, but before anyone could reach her, Jake, with a smirk that made everyone's stomach twist, slapped Emily across the face. The sound echoed through the diner. Emily froze, her eyes wide, tears welling up instantly. Her cheek turned red. Everyone watched, some in shock, some in shame for not stepping in. And Jake threw her sketchbook on the floor, muttering, "Pathetic," and walked out with his friends, laughing as if it were a joke. Emily didn't say a word. She picked up her sketchbook with trembling hands, rolled out of the diner, and vanished into the night. The owner called the police, but the boys were long gone. But the world has a strange way of balancing itself, because not every hero wears a cape. Some wear leather jackets and ride Harleys. An hour later, just as the diner was closing, the distant sound of engines rumbled through the night. It grew louder, deeper, until the ground itself seemed to vibrate. The lights outside the diner glowed red from the reflection of chrome. The Iron Serpents Motorcycle Club, a local biker group, pulled in, one after another, engines growling like thunder. Their leader, Mason, a broad-shouldered man with a long beard and a scar across his brow, stepped off his bike. He walked into the diner, eyes scanning the room. "Who here hurt the girl in the wheelchair?" he said, his voice low and heavy. The diner fell silent again. Someone whispered, "The high school kids. Jake and his friends." Mason nodded once, his jaw tightening. "Then we'll handle it." He turned and walked back out, signaling his crew. Meanwhile, Emily was at home, crying quietly in her room. Her mother had just arrived and was furious, ready to call the police again, but Emily just shook her head. "It doesn't matter, Mom. They always get away with it." But that night, something was different, because when Jake and his friends swaggered out of a gas station an hour later, still laughing, they were met with a sight they'd never forget. A line of bikers, a dozen of them, stood across the street. Engines off. Arms crossed. Silent, Mason stepped forward. "You think you're meant for hitting a girl who can't fight back?" he asked, his voice booming. Jake's grin faltered. "It was just a joke." Mason took a step closer. "You slapped a disabled girl. You humiliated her in front of everyone. You want to act tough? Try that on me." Ryan tried to laugh it off, but Mason's cold stare silenced him. One of the bikers pulled out Emily's torn sketchbook, found outside the diner, and handed it to Mason. You left this behind, he said. She draws better heroes than you'll ever be. Jake's face turned pale. How did you, small town, Mason interrupted. Word travels fast. So does justice. The bikers didn't lay a hand on the boys, they didn't need to. They made them apologize, publicly. Mason made them record a video apology for Emily, right there under the streetlight, their faces filled with shame. The video was later shared across social media, reaching thousands. And for the first time, people stood up for Emily, not just with words, but with hearts. The next morning, Mason and his crew rode to Emily's house. When she opened the door, she froze. The whole biker club was parked in her driveway. Mason smiled gently and handed her sketchbook back. Its cover fixed, its pages clean. We figured heroes like you deserve to keep dreaming, he said. Next time you draw a bike, you don't have to imagine. We'll take you for a ride. Tears filled Emily's eyes as she nodded, her smile trembling but bright. That weekend, the Iron Serpents rolled through town, and right there in the middle of them was Emily, her wheelchair safely mounted on a custom-built sidecar, wind blowing through her hair as she laughed for the first time in weeks. The diner crowd watched as the convoy thundered past. This time, no one looked away. Jake and his friends volunteered for community service, cleaning graffiti and serving at the diner, a deal made not by law, but by conscience. They never bothered Emily again. In fact, Jake eventually helped raise money to make the school wheelchair accessible. Guilt, perhaps, or redemption. Months later, a sign was painted on the diner wall: strength is not in fists, it's in hearts. And if you were to visit that small town now, you'd still see Emily every weekend, sitting by the diner window, sketchbook in hand, surrounded by the roar of engines and laughter of friends who call her Little Serpent. Because justice doesn't always come in uniforms. Sometimes, it rides in on two wheels and a promise. So if this story touched your heart, if you believe in standing up for those who can't, hit like, subscribe, and share this video. Because maybe, just maybe, someone watching will choose to be a hero too.